Good morning, esteemed guests, organizers, and fellow participants. It is a truly pleasure to be here today at this prestigious conference, the International Conference on Business, Economics, and Policy. And I'm so happy to be here to discuss with you a topic that is near and dear to my heart, developing future environment and social and governance leaders, or ESG leaders. The role of higher ed and industry. I am Dr. Abdul Haq Sinajkin, Associate Professor and the Head of Program, Doctor of Philosophy, Economics, Department of Economics, Faculty of Business and Management and Finance, University Tunku Abdul Rahman. So I am also deeply grateful for the opportunity to share my insight and experiences with all of you. ESG leadership actually is a crucial in today's world, and I am honored to be part of this important conversation. As someone who is passionate about sustainability and social responsibility, I'm thrilled to be among like-minded individuals who share the same vision for a better future. So I look forward to engaging with each of you and learning from your expertise, your experience. So thank you very much for having me in today's conference. So what is ESG? ESG is a set of standards for a company behavior used by socially conscious investors to screen potential investment, and this is based on Investopedia. So it has three components, which is environment, social, and governance. Environment criteria, where we assess how a corporation protect the environment, such as corporate policy addressing climate change, emission of greenhouses, and so on. The social criteria, where we look at how the company maintains connection with workers, suppliers, consumers, and communities in which it works with. So support effort to, for example, abolish discrimination based on race, gender, as well as other socially and ethically important causes such as diversity, inclusion, community focus, social justice, and business ethics. And the last, governance, where the focus is mostly about concern with leadership of how to say a corporation, executive remuneration, audits, internal controls, and shareholders. So this all could be put under the governance criteria. So if, let's say, we talk about some issues and examples and their metrics. So if we talk about environment, so we talk about pollution, waste, climate change. So we can have greenhouse gas, the metric, for example, CO2 emission per unit produced, how we are going to reduce this emission. If you talk about social, we talk about gender diversity policies, safety and quality of control, human rights. So one of the criteria is health, safety, where the assessment will be on employee accident relative to total hours worked. Then we have the last one, governance, where we talk about corporate behavior, corporate governance, accounting practices, board practices. So one of the example is we have board independence, and the criteria or the assessment, we may look at independent members relative to affiliated members. So these some of the metrics. So why developing an ESG leaders is important in the current global context? This is because of mostly 5 criteria based on my understanding and experience. There are other factors, but I believe these 5 are the most important factors that lead us, or we should develop ESG or leaders. The first one is addressing global changes. So when we talk about addressing global changes, means that we're talking about climate change, social inequality, and ethical corporate governance, which are just a few examples of environment, social, and governance issues that must be addressed. So creating leaders that put sustainability and social justice and openness in decision making as a top priorities can actually aid in solving these problems. The second, we have investors' demand, where investors want to put their money into a business that show they are leading the way on environmental and societal and governance issues. So investing in the growth of ESG leaders can help business respond to this demand and compete for greater funding. So we have customers or reputation and brand image, customer satisfaction. So customers almost always are more likely to remain loyal and buy from business that have a good ESG practices and leadership, which in turn can boost profit. Then we have risk mitigation, where environmental, social, and governance hazards, such as natural disasters, civil unrest, and regulatory infractions can lead severe financial and reputational ramifications for business. So investing in the growth of ESG leaders may protect business from this threat and help them avoid wasteful missteps. Then the last one, we have talent attraction and retention. So attracting and retaining the top talent, where we have millennials and Generation Z are increasingly selective about the business they want to work for. So giving preference to those who share their commitment to ESG's issues, they show their responsibility. So investing in the growth of ESG leaders can benefit business in several also ways and methods. And how the higher ed or educational institution can contribute to development of ESG leaders. The first one, which is most of the higher educational institutions do, is in curriculum and programs they offer. So programs and degrees offered that address ESG concerns can be designed and offered by higher education. So higher ed mission is to equip the next generation of leaders with the skills they need to make ESG concept a top priority in the organization. Second, research and scholarship, where higher ed is capable of doing research on ESG concepts and producing scholarly works on these topics, so both of which can inform policy and practices in a wide range of sectors. So higher ed can actually use the studies to update its course offering and curricula, giving its students access to the most current and up-to-date and relevant knowledge. The third one, partnership and collaboration, where higher ed may collaborate with business, non-profit organization, NGOs, to raise awareness of ESG concepts and foster the next generation of leadership who will make them a top priority. For example, collaborations can take numerous forms, including research initiative, internship, and employment opportunities, and the exchange of knowledge and resources between academia and higher education. So again, we will have professional development and training, where higher ed can help existing and future ESG leaders to advance their career through a variety of professional development and training programs. So this can take the form of workshops, seminars, conferences, or any other educational programs that train participants to become an effective ESG leaders. The last one is community outreach and engagement, where higher ed may reach out to communities near and far to increase awareness of environmental, social, and governance issues and foster the next generation of industry leaders. So for some example of these are holding conferences and other events, forming alliances with local groups, and advertising ESG focus causes and campaign. So challenges that may rise in developing ESG leaders. The first one, we have lack of awareness, where many people may not recognize the significance of ESG concepts or appreciate the effect may have on the company and society. This may hinder the cultivation of leaders who prioritize ESG concept and reduce the availability of resources and support for ESG endeavor. The second one, resistant to change, where companies with a long established norms and belief may find it especially challenging to shift their corporate culture to place a greater emphasis on environmental and social governance concepts. So creating ESG leaders may initiate sweeping changes to operational producers, which may be faced with pushback from those in organization who prefer the status quo. The third one is a complex and evolving landscape where ESG issues actually are intricate and varied, and the context in which they exist is dynamic and ever-changing. So creating ESG leaders call for a constant learning and adaptation of new circumstances and dissemination of the most recent finding and recommendation in the field. Then we have lack of consensus on metrics and standards. So it can be difficult actually to evaluate and compare different corporation and organization due to the absence of a universally acknowledged set of metrics and standards for measuring ESG performance. So establishing new frameworks for monitoring and reporting ESG performance may be necessary for developing ESG leaders, which can be a time-consuming and difficult task. Number 5, we have limited access to resources and expertise, where access to research and data, technology, and specialized training may be necessary for developing ESG leaders, but these are often hard to come by, and not all companies have the means to cultivate ESG leaders, which can reduce the impact of ESG efforts. The last one, we have lack of regulatory framework, where some regulatory frameworks exist, to advance the ESG concepts, but they may not be uniform or strong enough to encourage widespread adoption of ESG practices. It can be difficult also to cultivate ESG leaders in the midst of regulatory regime that are both complex and inconsistent. Then how higher ed can address these challenges? First, by increasing awareness and understanding. So integrating ESG issues in the curriculum and work programs, higher ed can enhance awareness and understanding of ESG issues by doing just that. So higher ed mission is to foster a new generation of leaders who place a premium on ESG concepts by educating students on a topic significance and its effect on a business and society. Promoting a culture of change, where higher ed may help foster a culture of change by serving a role model for effective ESG leadership, while also providing a safe space for creative risk-taking. So the cultural norms and expectations around ESG concept can be shifted with the help of higher ed effort to showcase the benefit of ESG. So we have staying up to date with the latest development, where higher ed is able to keep up with the development in the field of ESG leadership through an in-house research, strategic partnership with thought leaders and experts, and participation in relevant conferences and events. So we have developing a metric and standards, where metrics and standards are hard to develop. So higher ed can undertake research and collaborate with industry leaders and stakeholders, establishing metric and standard for monitoring ESG performance. So the higher ed may aid to promote of openness and accountability in realm of ESG leadership by developing uniform framework for evaluating and reporting ESG performance. So we have number 5, providing access to resource and expertise, where access to these resources is not to all industries. So higher ed can also help in this by forming partnership with established experts in the field and creating tailored training courses and workshops to industries. And the last, advocating for a stronger regulatory framework, where we have higher ed can engage policymakers and other stakeholders to push for a more robust regulatory frameworks for ESG challenges. So higher ed can assist with an environment that encourage and support ESG leadership by utilizing its influence and experience to lobby for stricter rules and policies. So what is the potential future of ESG leadership in development in a rapidly changing global context? We have first one is climate change, where increased demand of ESG leadership development can be attributed to the pressing issues of climate change as companies and governments seek to equip themselves with the know-how to move forward to a low carbon economy and mitigate the physical and social risks that came with. Then we have social justice, where increased attention to ESG leadership development that integrate them teams of social justice into leadership practices and decision making reflect the growing acknowledgement of the importance of justice, which include diversity, equity, and inclusion. Then we have technological disruption, where there has been a rise in interest in ESG leadership training as a means of preparing business and government leaders to deal with complexities posed by rapid pace of technological change and to make the most of the opportunities that this technological change present. The last one is geographical instability, where we have uncertainty and complexity in a global scene are on the rise, and conflict and unrest spread around the globe. As a result, there has been a rise in interest in ESG leadership development as a means to prepare future business and government leaders to deal with the complex challenges of today's. So as a conclusion, as an organization and government around the world face an increasing number of environmental, social and governance concerns, the cultivation of these ESG leaders is becoming increasingly vital in the current global setting. So higher ed can play a crucial part in this endeavor by offering leadership development programs tailored to these challenges. However, the number of difficulties may also rise, such as juggling multiple priorities or overcoming resistance to change in organization culture level. So higher ed can address these all by employing many methods, such as specific training and education, collaboration and partnership, and the application of digital technology to overcome these obstacles. So global issues like climate change, social justice, technology change, and political instability are expected to affect the future ESG leadership development. So we can say an increased collaboration and partnership between different stakeholders to develop ESG leadership programs and initiatives with a greater impact is needed to meet these challenges, as is a great focus on developing the skills and knowledge needed to make sustainable and responsible decision. At the last, we say a more sustainable and a just world can only be achieved through a cultivation of ESG leaders, and higher ed plays a significant part of this endeavor. So as a memorable thought-provoking statement, we say, let's remember that ESG leadership is not just a buzzword, but a moral imperative and strategic imperative for business and society and even individuals. As Allah said in the Quran, chapter 13, verse 11, indeed Allah will not change the condition of people until they change what is in themselves. Means that this verse of Quran emphasizes on the importance of the personal transformation as a prerequisite for society change. It suggests that if individuals want to see a positive change in their communities or societies, they must first be willing to change themselves and their behavior. So this concept also of a personal responsibility for change, which is central to many movements aimed to promoting positive societal and environmental outcomes, including the ESG framework. So let us be the change by developing future ESG leaders who will drive positive impact, create a more sustainable world, and leave a lasting legacy for generations to come. Thank you very much. That's all what I want to share with you. If you have any question, please do ask, and I will be happy to answer. Thank you very much.